I like coming up on the Studio B shot, the two shot, Julia.
Yes.
It's Friday.
Yeah.
We do this every Tuesday and Friday. Welcome to Studio B here in San Francisco's beautiful Marina District, about 4 blocks from the St. Francis Yacht Club. I'm your host, Tom Eamon. With me, of course, is the co-host and the Commodore of the Beach Street Yacht Club, Julia Vadikian.
Yes.
Representing the St. Francis Yacht Club, I proudly represent the Balboa Yacht Club on here.
Probably.
I have my Balboa Yacht Club Governor's Cup media shirt on today. Thierry DeYoung in SoCal. Phil Yeomans on saying, hello, where are you today, Phil? Jody Shields. It's Saturday morning in
the real world.
Australia, just after 6 a.m. in the morning. Jody's, as usual, up bright and early. Ed Worley's up here in NorCal. We have a nice submission from Ed today, Julia.
Oh,
Alistair Murray saying, good day from Melbourne. He was at a wedding yesterday, which we will feature in the A block. Blake is in the chat from Minneapolis, in the land of 10,000 lakes.
Uh-huh.
And Mark Collins saying, of all the other days, Friday is the best. Hello from sunny Boston, and hello from sunny, actually quite nice San Francisco. And have a nice weekend here, 4 days of good weather here in a row again. Welcome to the show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday. We appreciate your coming on. For today's show, number 869, we are at the starting line, at which we will say happy Friday and happy the 190th celebration, Julia, of Das Fest der Stadt München.
Haha.
In your honor.
Oktoberfest.
Right?
Yes.
So you know what that is. We'll get to that in a second.
Uh-huh.
And then what else on the starting line? Our little pre-show list here. We have a wedding, a parasailing clinician, and an auspicious birthday to celebrate here in Fozy Focus at the top of the show in the A block. Then we'll talk about the 6-meter worlds. Bravo Zulu to His Majesty King Juan Carlos, who has repeated Bribon's win in the Classic Division at the Sixes. That I thought would make you happy, Julia.
Absolutely.
To know that. And also in the coaching corner, John Emmett is still leading.
Wow.
In fact, he's got a bigger lead now in the Ilka 6 in his division of the Masters Worlds in Formia in Italia. So that is a little report on John's. He'll also have his normal coaching corner. We have a very special This Day in History, Julia. What happened 42 years ago today in Newport, Rhode Island? Mm-hmm. Do you know?
No.
September 26th, 1983. A day
83.
that will live
in infamy.
In infamy. It sure will.
Yeah.
Special This Day in History. We'll get to that. And then we have an AAAA from Alistair Murray, another awesome Aussie anecdote. He talks a little bit about Sail GP, about how much he enjoyed being at Lake Garda this summer, our Northern Hemisphere summer, and his boat names, that little competition that he's got running. The 52 Super Series, the penultimate day today, day 4. They will wrap up tomorrow. It looks like Sled will win that, and it looks like American Magic Quantum Racing will win the overall 2025 series, but we shall see. And finally, the last leg, the Ocean Race. Europe is done and dusted, and they're already looking forward to a new race next September 2nd, 2026, which will run from New York to Barcelona.
Ooh.
A year from now. We'll have Richard Gladwell on the show on Tuesday, and he's written a terrific article. We won't show it to you today, but we'll talk about it with Richard on Tuesday. And also, Mickey Beckett, the famously good British Ilka sailor, has a column on his Facebook page, long piece, which I haven't had time to stick in here today. But we're going to get Mickey Beckett on the show because he's talking about how, frankly, and he's like Emmett. He's very diplomatic. He's being very polite, but he is saying basically how screwed up world sailing, or how they are screwing up the Olympic format.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk, hopefully, with Mickey live on the show in the next week or so, because he's written a very good piece on his Facebook page. And, of course, This Day in History, which we mentioned, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and, of course, our fantastic Fozy. But I want to go back to Tuesday's show. If you missed it, when we had Pedro's personal perspective a.k.a. Peter Stevenson
Yeah.
from Sydney, when he was on, Julia, talking about you're on your phone. What are you on your phone? What is so interesting about your phone over there?
Never mind. I'll tell you later.
Turn it off. You're worse than a teenager, Julia.
No, I've been trying to watch this thing all the way through for a long
Watch it
time.
after the show. I can't believe it. She's a teenager. She's a millennial and worse. You got to get Meg to give you some coaching. Pedro's personal perspective, I'll never forget it.
Man of mystery. Doing his bit for the country.
If I lose my towel, I will be.
Not only did we learn that John goes commando
I won't embarrass you,
under
John.
his
Good to see you,
wetsuit,
mate. Now, look,
but this
are
has
you
got
gonna
to
go
be the
left
first
or are you
time
gonna go
on
right?
Sailing Illustrated in the 10 years we've been at this.
It was striptease.
We've got John or anybody else, exactly,
Okay,
Julia, doing a
we'll save John
striptease.
the embarrassment. Bye, Tom. Bye, Julia. I'll just come down a little bit lower here. Right.
As if that was going to save anything by going behind his daggerboard cover. Well, anyway, Peter Stevenson, I just had to reprise that from Tuesday's show because when I rewatched Tuesday's show, I couldn't believe it, Julia.
Well, and he won't be able to either, but never mind.
Okay, thank you, Peter Stevenson, for that. And that's a nice segue into a Fosey Focus. For today, we have 3 friends of Sailing Illustrated in focus today. And first, Julie, do you recognize this couple?
I should.
Sean Hogan, good friend of Alistair's. He's been on the show at least in
Oh, yeah.
on photos. I don't know if he's ever actually, maybe he has. I think we did do I think Alistair once did a Alistair's Awesome Aussie anecdote with
him.
Sean and maybe 1 or 2 others. But Alistair's writing, "Good day, Tom. Just a quick heads up about my good mate, Sean Hogan, president of Yachting Victoria, president of Sailability Victoria, and of course, a Fosey. Sean is marrying this was yesterday, is marrying his sweetheart and parasailer, Alison Weatherly, yesterday in Melbourne, Friday in Melbourne. I'll be there representing Sailing Illustrated.
good.
Best wishes to both. And as Alistair does, he sends along photos yesterday in Melbourne as they were doing the their what do you call it? The vows, right?
Vows, yeah.
You call that their vows? They were
Yes.
doing their vows in a small gathering of sailors and others, nautical themed there. Nice setup, nice photos.
Oh, yes.
Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Sean Hogan of
Wow.
Australia, Foseys both.
Uh-huh.
And congrats to them.
They
we
both
hope
look great.
they do look great, and we hope to see them soon on the show. Sean's come through a bit of a health challenge, and they're both superb people, 2 of the nicest people, Alistair and others who know them say. So that's our first Fosey Focus for today. And then, Julia, the next one comes by way of San Diego. Do you recognize that bridge?
Yes.
What is that?
I can't name it, though.
That is the Coronado Bay Bridge,
Yeah.
over from San Diego over to Coronado, where the Navy has their North Island Naval Station, Hotel del Coronado, the famous hotel,
Yes.
which, for extra credit, what was filmed there. I mean, a number of movies was filmed there
Yeah.
back in the 50s.
Yeah.
Some Like It
Hot?
Hot was filmed there.
Yes.
That is the bridge, and on yesterday there was the United States Sailing Association's Parasailing Championship goes on this weekend, and a clinic was hosted by Coronado Yacht Club and taught by our Fosey, by now almost a super Fosey, Coach John Rogers, and he sent along these videos. And Bravo Zulu to them, and apparently it was a very successful clinic. John, congratulations for all of your efforts down there. He is the head coach at San Diego Yacht Club, as well as a member of Coronado Yacht Club. He grew up at that club over there. And he is just a magnificent coach and contributor to our sport, and a hell of a good sailor at that. He's pictured here, and at his office is just inside there in the Malin Burnham building there, at whom you knew Malin well,
Yes,
Julia,
indeed.
from the Stanford. He was on the Stanford board when you were working at Stanford,
Right.
weren't you? Wasn't he? And Malin has this list
And
of
Bob Golden, too.
the virtues of excellence: plan ahead, set personal goals, commitment, take responsibility, hard work, be prepared, dedication, persevere, teamwork, everyone contributes, play by the rules, be honest, ethical, and fair, follow through, take action to achieve your goals. Those have been Malin's long since thought out goals that he has given for himself, his friends and family, but particularly for the young sailors at San Diego Yacht Club and on that building at the Malin Burnham Sailing Center.
And successfully.
on the grounds at San Diego Yacht Club. And John echoes those as well. Okay, so that's our marriage. That's our clinic. Now we have an auspicious birthday. Julia, do you recognize this young lady?
I do.
Who is that?
That's Meg.
That is my daughter, Meg, San Diego surfer girl. Is she not a sailor? She's these days much more of a surfer than a sailor. She and her husband, Aaron, have a condo over there on the west side of Point Loma overlooking the Pacific Ocean. They're right on the water. And she is, thank goodness, she used to be a member up here at St. Francis, but she's now a member down there at San Diego Yacht Club and head of her own little business, MWE Creative. And, of course, designed our Beach Street Yacht Club Burgee.
Yes.
Which I see hanging above your head, Julia, here in Studio B.
Indeed.
And she is just turned yesterday, speaking of yesterday, 33. So a happy 33rd birthday to
Looking great.
the beloved daughter, Meg, who helped us kick Sailing Illustrated when we set up the website, set up the branding, set up all the logos and everything. Now, some 10 years ago today.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Meg.
Happy birthday, Meg.
And just a show note that, as I said a moment ago, Richard Gladwell will be, we think, I confirmed he was just going to bed when this article appeared that he's just put up on Sail World. As you know, he is the editor of Sail World New Zealand editor for that branch of Sail World. And he has just written a long piece about the clash, but in the upcoming clash that's growing, because in 2027, he is projecting it'll be quite a big clash between Sail GP and the America's Cup.
Yes.
And Richard, who, of course, is a Kiwi and a big Cup fan and has been involved in the Cup, following the Cup, covering the Cup since forever. He's a great sailor and a good judge. He thinks Sail GP is winning out, and it's going to be tough for the Cup.
I think it will do.
So we shall see what Richard has to say on the show. We think it's Tuesday. He may not be able to make it Tuesday. He's traveling this coming week, but he said he would come on. And by the way, Alistair, and the rest of you up in Melbourne, he is going to be in Melbourne from Sunday, from what's Saturday down there now, so from tomorrow, your time. And we hope to have Richard on Tuesday. If not Tuesday, it will be next Friday or so, he promises. Richard Gladwell, live from Melbourne, of all places. Just checking in again on the chat. Andrew Pindar's been doing the boat shows. He sent a couple pictures, which I did not have time to put into the show, Julia, but he's at the Salon Nautico Genoa. That's done. The Monaco show is now done. And he's home building Energy before La Voile, the Saint-Tropez, La Voile de Saint-Tropez, the classic yachts, is on starting tomorrow.
Oh, good.
Fantastic event. Ted Ryman checking in from Cape Town. It's going to be third. It's summertime in Sydney. When we get past the equinox, and it is summer, 30C today in SYD, where Jonathan Frank checking in from Galveston, Galveston, where it's always hot, or almost always hot.
Yes.
Jody's also confirming up there at the top, getting warm in Oz. You won't believe it. I'm going to a pub today to watch some good old Aussie bands. Bands? What that is? Maybe it's Aussie rock and roll type bands, Julia. Fritz Mueller is in Miami. Steve Ross, good afternoon. Tom and Julia from San Diego. I usually watch on YouTube after the show, but due to crummy weather, I'm watching live. Welcome, Steve. Nice to have you with us. Gordon Smith, 42 years ago, and Aussie finally paid their bar bill. I remember it clearly. There's Hamish Ross. He's in Auckland, or maybe out in the Coromandel, where it's 8:15 in the morning. Good morning on opening day in Auckland. All the clubs get together and have an opening day down there, Julia, like we do here on the Bay.
Yes.
Yeah, Julia, Clay Embley says that you're chatting with some guy on your phone. That's probably true. It's one of her gentleman callers she's following up with. That's her broker. Clark Chapin thinks it's your broker. Maybe it's a margin. Yeah, but the Dow was way up today, wasn't it, Julia?
I'm not doing Dow right now.
You're not. You're doing other stuff.
Yeah.
Replying to Hamish Ross, yeah, John was not too happy. John Emmett was not too happy, Alistair saying about that. About his striptease in the boat park. I thought it was pretty good, though, Julia. Didn't you think that was pretty good?
I did, especially since he full of confidence was not so full of confidence.
Well, you know, we could have seen his little pee-pee, and then then the whole world would have known. I still can't believe he sails commando with nothing under his wetsuit, but what do I know? I'm here, Toledo, Ken Saban says, where it's in the 80s. Sailed my last race last Wednesday, on to ice boating. Well, you're not going to be ice boating anytime soon. And that goes a bridge that is not straight. No Baton Rouge. That Coronado Bridge in San Diego is nicely curved. Mm-hmm. And it has to be of a certain height so the Navy can get in and out of there. And yes, Blake Middleton, time sure does fly. Hard to believe it's been 42 years since that day I was riding on the jury boat, in the front of the jury boat, the closest person to that match, that seventh and final match in AC25. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, Andrew McIrvin is also flying down to Saint-Tropez tomorrow, so it looks like they will have a bit of a gather. But again, Richard will be on with us, we hope, on my Tuesday, his Wednesday, and he'll be live, we think, from Melbourne.
Oh, good.
Julia, what are we celebrating today?
Oktoberfest.
Indeed. This is Oktoberfest week. It started last weekend, runs through this weekend, and then beyond. And as you all know, Oktoberfest began in, I don't know if you know this or not. I didn't know this. I knew it was old. I knew it was in the 1800s sometime. But it was during a royal wedding in 1810 for Crown Prince Ludwig and Princess Theresa. München, the German pronunciation of Munich, invited residents and guests to open fields outside the city walls for public joy.
And sport.
A horse race provided the headline excitement, closing celebrations on the Meadowland, later named Theresienwiese. Visa.
Oh, yes.
Theresian Visa. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
And Andreas Michael Dallarmi, a National Guard major, proposed that race to honor the marriage festivities. Officials embraced that idea, rewarding him with a Gold Citizens Medal, as you would years later.
Yes.
Soon an agricultural show joined the proceedings. Then small booths brought snacks, drinks, and simple amusements. City authorities later assumed organization, which helped the growth into an annual highlight, as you all know. And Julia, you would think poorly of me if I did not have a
picture
video.
Yes.
The gates are open and participants are pouring into Oktoberfest,
from last Saturday,
the world's largest folk festival. The dress code is traditional, and one activity is top of the agenda.
Drink a lot. Today there'll be some serious drinking. Yeah, the line is long.
The line is long. We arrived early.
Yeah, well, it's going to be awesome. Awesome experience today.
Great party today.
Participants from Germany and around the world queued up for hours to secure a spot in a tent on Saturday. Some lucky ones got to catch the inaugural moment, the tapping of the first beer barrel. Munich's mayor presided over the opening. An experienced festival goer, he had some sage advice.
As mayor, I want people to have fun at Oktoberfest, to enjoy themselves, to go back home healthy, to maybe need only a few headache tablets the next day.
The 190th edition of the festival is expected to welcome an estimated 6 to 7 million people, and some 7 million litres of beer are set to be drunk. Each will cost a hefty €15, but a small price to pay to experience an iconic part of Bavarian culture.
Well, it's an iconic part of German culture. I mean, if you must have been to Oktoberfest with your late great German husband any number of times.
Yeah,
it's a great celebration. It's great fun. My good friend, and who was our marketing director for several America's Cup campaigns, Mirko Groschner, Herr Groschner.
His birthday this weekend.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but you would know. Yeah, Tylenol. Alan Long is saying, well, don't take Tylenol if you're a pregnant lady, I guess. But Julia, one time we were flying back from a Formula One race. I had a chartered plane and a bunch of journalists and some VIPs that I'd taken to the race when I was working in Formula One. We were flying back from, I can't remember where, it may have been Monza, may have been the Italian Grand Prix. We were flying back to Hamburg.
Yeah.
And the journos were all rowdy. It was a Sunday night. And they said, it was like the second day of Oktoberfest. They said, come on, Tom.
Let's just go.
Let's just go. And to their utter astonishment, I went up to the flight deck and said, sir, is it possible we could land? And we'll just go down there for a couple hours, because there's the big Munich International Airport, but they still, like a lot of cities, they have the Munich kind of the city airport, the in-town little airport for smaller planes. And we did, in fact, land.
Oh, I've never heard this story.
I know. We landed, and we commandeered some taxis and went over there for a couple hours. It was a nightmare getting. In fact, not everybody then got back on the plane.
I was going to say, how many people did you miss?
Some of those people stayed there, and I don't know how the hell they got home. We should have had Jonathan Frank with us. He could have piloted that for us.
Right.
I then went back out to the airport. We got into Hamburg about 3 in the morning, and people were upset, including my wife. Where have you been? Well, it's a long story, Leslie, but that's my best. That's my Oktoberfest story. My only October. I've been one other time, I think. Let's carry on here with a Bravo Zulu here at the top of the show. Julia, a news story for the ages, Tom, yeah. Well, the journalists were really happy. They thought that was pretty cool that the guy who was their host, and I was, trying to make good ink for the company.
And you did.
And they all wrote about it. I mean, it was the next, and a couple of my bosses were really happy. The marketing guy thought it was terrific ink. Couple of the treasurer of the company, I don't think, because it cost us a few more bucks, and set a bad example for the other people in the company that they would do something. So, but okay, I'm not going to talk anymore about it. But in any event, Bravo Zulu, well done, and praise the performance at the 6-meter Worlds. Julia, I love this shot.
Oh, yes.
That is from a week or so ago in the warm-up racing, but that is the skyline, of course, of New York, looking from the east, from Long Island Sound, from Oyster Bay, into New York to the west, into New York City, or north and west a little bit. Today, the 2025 6-meter Worlds, hosted by Sewanaka Corinthian Yacht Club. It has wrapped up. It wrapped up this afternoon. I had live reporting from Peter Taylor, who was reporting all week, actually, from there. And then we also had Rick Bannerow there taking photos and keeping me posted. Claire was on the text with various people that were sailing there. So it was, we had all the info flowing in here. It is a stunning photo, isn't it?
It is.
And it was good fun. This is His Majesty King Juan Carlos, the King Emeritus of Spain. He has won again in the classic division. That's his yacht Bribon. They were leading going into yesterday's racing when they actually sailed 3 races. They've had light air all week, and it's been a little dodgy getting the racing in, but they did, in fact, get 3 races in yesterday, and here is that video.
Oh, that's nice.
A long day.
It's great sailing today, 3 races.
It's tough though, and we had very changeable conditions. Weather here, you never know what's happening.
We ended up winning the first race, first ever world race that I've won. The feeling at the finish, I think everybody didn't really believe it.
So today we had 3-1-1. Tomorrow, 2 more races to come. We are happy with our performance. The boat is brand new, so we're learning a lot each day. Team mood is good, so we take it day by day.
We won 2 races, quite happy. Racing in this class is quite tough. Performance is everything.
And racing is very tough. There's a top group which probably will win the championship and go to the podium.
A lot of top boats that are going back and forth, having good races. Rebounds, Tisha's doing well. Ourselves and Clapper and Totem.
They give us confidence for another good day tomorrow.
I don't know if you saw that gentleman in that. One of the guys interviewed is a guy called Greg Stewart, who's a naval architecture of considerable repute and a big 6-meter fan. Lives down in San Diego. I've known him forever. And Greg, I think, has the oldest boat in this fleet.
Oh,
and it's called Sprig. And it dates from like the 20s. Somebody in the chat will probably know that. Hamish Ross saying what a wonderful class the 6 meter is. And of course, Julie, you agree with that.
Absolutely.
Because you and your late husband followed the 6 meter class supporting the entries from St. Francis Yacht Club.
Right. And we actually rebirthed, if you will, the 6 meters in the West Coast.
Well, exactly, and also the Australian American Cup, wasn't it called?
Yes, actually, it was the Australian, but it doesn't matter. It was a great combination for 20 years.
Well, anyway, that Greg Stewart, who is he's a very meticulous guy, and that boat, I haven't seen Spritz down at San Diego Yacht Club often. I haven't seen it in a while, but he keeps that boat, it's just perfect. And he won a race, as you saw in that video.
Yeah.
So, Dennis didn't do so well. He had that new Spanish design boat. And as I was telling you in the...
yesterday.
Well, no, in the last month or so, I was hearing that in the workup, he's had that boat since late 2024 and has been working it up down there in San Diego this, spring and summer.
Yeah.
And was having problems with the boat. Sometimes they thought it was maybe they were getting hung up in the kelp, and I don't know what all was going on.
Yeah.
But Dennis did not do well, sadly, in the modern division, they call it. But it's what a great class. These meter boats obviously are great classes. In carrying on, the 6s, the 12s just wrapped up their North Americans in Newport, hosted by Ida Lewis over the past few days. Wonderful class. How did it get the class name? Well, because as you know, I'm sure, Jody, I don't think he's asking that tongue in cheek, but as you know, the meter boat, there's a rule dating from 06. And it's a formula.
It is.
And it's a formula that if you plug different dimensions in, as long as the quotient to the formula comes out at the number you have specified, whether it's 5.5 or 6, these are the popular classes,
right.
The 8s, the 10s, the 12s, of course, and there were even boats 14, 15, I think, meter boats, and it's not the length, although obviously as the number gets bigger, since length is one of the parts of the formula, the boats get bigger. So the 6 meter are 30-something feet long?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Do you remember, Julia?
I don't right now, 33 or something like that.
I think they're longer than that. But nonetheless, you were going to say.
When discussing getting active in international sailing, the leaders of the sail leaders of the St. Francis decided that doing everything correctly with the 6 meters was just as serious and took as many things as the 12s.
Yes.
And it costed about 1/10 the month.
Exactly.
And why go through all of the things?
Well, you don't have 2 boats with 2 crew, and you don't have a huge design program, a small design program, because in all of these campaigns, as you know, it's the salaries.
Yeah.
The cost of an America's Cup campaign, 60+% of it is the personnel, is the salaries, the ongoing. The design program is expensive, and the actual building the boats is not that expensive.
And in that day and age, sailors were honored to be asked to sail.
Well, I think they still are. I mean,
but they weren't paid.
Well, they were paid something. I guarantee you, Julia,
okay.
They were paid something. Some of them were. But it's fantastic class, and the Bravo Zulu here to His Majesty, they had actually won yesterday. This is a photo from yesterday as they had clinched, and they did not have to race 7 today, although sportingly, His Majesty, after clinching yesterday, he still went out and raced, or tried to.
Yeah.
It was the conditions were not much better today. They did get one race in for both the classics and the moderns. Here is His Majesty out there. He towed out there, although he'd already won it, and they're trying to get the boat, done, and he wants to get back after the prize giving.
Right.
And it's been a long week. He's 80-something. But he sportingly went back out to race today, and this nice photo from Peter Taylor. Thanks, Peter, for all your coverage. And the breeze was so light, they had several recalls. They, in fact, had one race that got started for both divisions, And then the race committee had to put up code flag N, the checkerboard flag, which means all races that have started are abandoned. That used to be the cancellation flag, but come back here, and they did try again. That nice photo from Rick Bannerow. And the race committee apparently had their work cut out for them this week and did, by all accounts, a hell of a good job getting the series in. 7 races, including 3 yesterday.
Yeah.
So bravo Zulu to them. And Bribon did win, and Rick Bannerow went alongside after the racing was all over today, and they didn't race in that final race.
Yeah.
Shouted to His Majesty, "I'm taking this picture for Tom and the Fozy," and apparently he said to say hola to the Fozy.
Oh, good.
That's what Bannerow reported. So thank you, Rick, for that. Personal attention from Rick, from Peter Taylor, but also from His Majesty, who has followed the show and has been a good friend for many years. We text on birthdays and so on still to this day. Here are the final results in the Classic division. Bribon, the King's Boat, representing the Real Club Nautico Sanyexenio, I can't remember how to pronounce it, won, and then down through Greg Stewart Sprigg finished 4th overall. Bravo Zulu, Greg, well done. And down to Bob and Farley Taus. Bob, a longtime friend from the New York Yacht Club, and was house chairman and was on the board for years. And I guess was Commodore too, ultimately. And a good friend of Claire's, Vice Commodore Harrington. He finished with Farley, I believe his son, finished 11th. Bravo Zulu to everybody who participated. And over in the modern division, Rainer Mueller and Jamie Hilton, who won last year, did not win this year. They managed to finish second, 4 points shy of Dieter Schoen. Dieter Schoen from, it's a German name, but apparently representing IVB. Julia, do you know that code? IVB. That is the Olympic code for the British Virgin Islands. The Islas Virgenes Britannia or something.
Yes.
In French, I guess, is how they end up with that code. So there's the rest of the group. 17 boats. There were some total of 30 boats total. Now, Dennis, as you can see down there in 13th, did not do particularly well. Dennis didn't even sail the last few days. I believe that his crew sailed the boat and kept the boat going, but they had a tough series, as you can see. Chris Poole, I think, was helming when Dennis was not aboard. So DC, not so good, as Andrew McIrvin is saying in the chat. Ted Ryman is saying Dennis is amazing. What is he, 82, I think? He just had a birthday. It can't be easy getting onto those boats at his age, Bravo Zulu. Baton Rouge, I spoke with Batten this morning, Batten Kennan in Charleston, who, by the way, is an architect. I think we knew that. But he had some interesting insight. He said there were a bunch of 6 meters at Southern Yacht Club back in the day, all owned by architects because of the aesthetics of the boat, how beautiful they are.
Yes.
And Baton Rouge, a.k.a. Batten Kennan's, his real name, is, as I mentioned, an architect. Hamish Ross said Dennis needs to drill some hull test cores. I don't know about that. They look slow, but they are slow in light air, but they're beautiful boats, obviously, nonetheless. AC25 now has an energy use formula and looks like a meter rule. Yes, Jody Shields' tongue firmly in cheek. I know he knew why a 6 meter was called a 6 meter. Yeah, Hamish confirming it's a rule from 1907. Great job, Peter and Rick. Yep, Alan Long, thank you for that. And the King, at his age, he's 80-something too, mid-80s. Somebody will know in the chat.
Great day.
Yep. Louis the Maharaja sadly broke the boat after 20 seconds. DC is now 83, Rick Banner was saying. Thank you, Rick. Dennis still having a haircut before major regattas. Yes, you saw he had quite short hair in some of the earlier photos. One last photo, finally, this from Peter Taylor this afternoon, just about an hour ago, just before we went to air. That is Bribon, already in, towed in, done and dusted, hoisted out. And I think another one of our Fozy, I think Andrew Pindar, is responsible for getting that boat back to Europe or so, won here. So I don't know 100% if that's true, but thanks, Peter Taylor, for the photo and for the coverage. And that class has done a fabulous job getting pictures, videos, daily updates, covering the racing live, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Great job, whoever was doing that, whoever was responsible for that. And of course, it helps to have some owners that have some bucks.
Yes.
Because they can buff things out, and doing it at a club like Sewanaka Corinthian, which is one of the great old clubs in this country for sure.
Yes.
Okay, Julia. Time for John's report, coaching corner from John Emmett. He is still winning and grinning at the Ilka Masters World Championships in Formia, Italia.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozy. I'm here at the Formia, I think I said that right, boat park. It's the Ilka Masters Worlds. And there's so many boats in the boat park. I thought the Fozy would really enjoy this because it's quite a high risk manoeuvre. Possibly not so for me, but for my cameraman Al, so he doesn't walk into any random sailors, masts, or all the rest of it. So if you see me doing a little bit of this, it's probably me trying to save him. And also, because we've just hosed the boats, it's rather wet on the floor, so if you suddenly look at the sky, you know what's going to go on. But I think, to be honest, these events are a fantastic chance to get everyone together. I mean, when we look at something like 40 countries getting on for 500 sailors, that's very, very impressive. And I think one of the things for me is it brings everyone together. And believe me, you know, there was fairly angry people today. People really, really want to win. In fact, people really, really want to get on the dolly on and off the water, which is possibly the most stressful thing for me. In fact, I think possibly my rudder wasn't fully down in some of the races, where in the great big rush to get in, it didn't really get put in. But Al's doing a wonderful job here. You won't realise, but he's about 10 centimetres away from every single mast. But these annual events, which bring everyone together, they're really important. And I think sport, if we think about worldwide politics, sport actually brings everyone together as well. So it's nice to see so many countries. And one of the good things about the Ilka, it is accessible. So obviously we haven't got 450 people bringing their own boats here. We have an awful lot of charter boats, or people bringing several boats for several people. So the Brits, we had a huge stacker, although Al's probably going to say that's small compared to the ones they have in Canada, but we had a huge stacker just to, you know, really share the logistics. And if people checked out the stories, they would have seen this a little bit. I was going to say I've waited to do this filming until most people have had the chance to get changed. That's not actually true. I just wanted the last off the water, and I think people were getting worried that they'd run out of dollies. But no, it's been fantastic events so far. The wind hasn't quite played ball. Rule of thumb for sea breeze here. In the UK, it's probably 12 o'clock the sea breeze kicks in. So here we're a bit further south, and it's an hour time difference. So, you know, it's 1, 2 in the afternoon. But, you know, the food's fantastic, the coffee's fantastic, and I've nearly run out of boat parks. So I'm going to leave it there. Although there are probably still another 100 boats behind. So sail fast, sail safe, keep having fun, and I'll check you on the replay, I think.
Check us on the replay. I still have got 3 minutes left in his video, Julie. I don't know what happened to my timer on the video today, but thanks, John. Thanks very much for that. And as we were saying, he is at the Ilka 6 and 7 Masters World Championships, which wraps up on Sunday in Formia in Italy. 445 entries from 38 countries, including Fozy's Pedro. Peter Stevenson is there racing in the Legends division. Mm-hmm. And, of course, John Emmett sailing in the whatever division he's sailing in. I can't remember, but he's in the Grandmasters or something elevated. And there are the results so far with a couple more. I guess 4 more races to go, didn't he say?
Yeah.
Is that what he said? He has a net of 11. That's with a throw out. The guy's got a 2-1-2-3. He's throwing out a third, for goodness sakes. Where his closest competition there, the Turk Alpagut, is throwing out an 8th. And John's got a 2-1-2-3-1-2-2-1. Pretty consistent, pretty good score. And Bravo Zulu, John, keep it up.
Absolutely, yeah.
Tonight, 4 races to go. John leading his division by a net of 9 points. As we were saying, that's the John Emmett Coaching Corner Report. Get to the front of the fleet with John Emmett, with Emmett Sailing. Thank you, John, for that. And just again, I say this after every one of John's reports because he's been leading the way, at least for us. And the Aussies are also pushing hard. Alistair Murray and others down there are pushing hard to get the Paralympics back into the Paralympic sailing, back into the Paralympics come 2032 in Brisbane. We need everybody's concerted effort to do that. We need good turns out, not turnouts.
Oh, you're nice. Yes, it's hard to say, but true.
Turns out at like attorneys general.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Turns out at the various events. And we just want to say again that the Aussies are really getting behind this. And we hope everyone else as well. We know the Brits are. We hope the Americans are. But Australian Sailing, as we told you on Tuesday, are proudly supporting the re-inclusion of sailing at the Paralympic Games. And they are passionate about the efforts to see the sport return to the Paralympic stage for Brisbane 2032. This year, Australia's para and inclusive sailors will compete at the 2025 World Sailing Inclusion Championships in Oman at the end of November, early December. This world-class event celebrates talent, inclusivity, and the future of our sport. Their team, the Australian team, is self-funding. Their journey needs support. Every tax-deductible donation helps cover travel, equipment, and competition costs, ensuring our sailors can focus on doing Australia proud. There's some links there. And this is probably true for many other countries as well. So if you're in a country sending a team, if you've got a few extra bucks and you're not sending it to us, right?
Which you may.
Which you can do anyway. But we really hope that you will support your national Paralympic team because we need teams at these events to get the count up, to get the IPC, the International Paralympic Council, situated. I'm thinking more favorably about our sport, short term and long. Mm-hmm. Right, Julia?
Absolutely.
Thanks, Dolly DeVola, for sending that along, which gets us to this day in history, Julia.
Uh-huh.
Our theme, our lead, our LEDE.
Right, and it was.
And it was the 42nd anniversary of the Cup that changed everything. That fabulous photo by Dan Nerney, our longtime friend, who was up in the blimp that day, these many years ago, and got that photo.
That's a great photo.
As Australia, too, crossed ahead of Liberty on the fifth leg? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the downwind leg, the fifth of 6 legs of that course in Newport, Rhode Island Sound. I was on the bow of the jury boat.
Uh-huh.
The closest person to the action.
Saw everything.
Great big Hatteras. I can't remember the name of the boat. And the jury was on it, and some of the New York Yacht Club honchos were on it.
Yeah.
And they were going asleep, going downwind. And I said, hey, guys, in the first 5 minutes, after Dennis rounded first at the top mark, so this has closed up a lot. These guys are faster. They're bringing some pressure. That is Australia, too. They're bringing some pressure down. You better wake up and pay attention here. It'd been a long day. I mean, legs were 4.2 nautical mile windward legs, if I remember well.
Yeah.
So, it's a long day in light air, and it's sleepy, and people probably had a few champagne. Not me, of course.
No.
And some lunch, beautiful lunch. So I'm right up on the bow, glued to this thing, and you could see that Australia 2 was hauling them in. And Dennis made the decision, and I still defend him. A lot of people don't. A lot of people said, Dennis, you should have covered. Well, maybe. Because if he had covered, maybe he could have then engaged in some super aggressive luffing or something. Mm-hmm. But it was a long leg. It's 4.2 miles, I think, downhill. As I said, the windward lured legs. And he said, they're going to run us down, Tom. And he and Tom Whidden said, okay, we better jibe away and look for some air.
Yeah.
And didn't find it. And Australia 2 had good air and was faster because of something you're going to learn from Ed Worley in a moment.
Oh, good.
Sigh, not great, painful as we watched from a big spectator boat and we're pacing the boat. Steve Atkins is saying, Commodore Atkins from the Madison Beach Club in Connecticut, past Commodore there. Alistair Murray, I spoke to John Bertrand yesterday, wished him a happy anniversary. Believe it or not, Alistair, Mr. President Emeritus, I have a video from John Bertrand.
Oh, good.
And they had a celebration. They had a reunion. Thanks to one of our FOSI who told me about this. I wouldn't have known otherwise. They had a reunion of the Alan Bond teams from that era, not just Australia 2. So we will be bringing all of that to you in a moment. What
That's
else?
fun.
Any other thing? Ed Worley says, I was still in college. He's young. Blake Middleton, also this date in history, 1580. Francis Drake finishes his circumnavigation. Yeah, I saw that, Blake, but how can you run that instead of this? This is more important. Let's get into it, Julia. This day in history, as you know, the 26th of September, 1983. And there is the moment when it all happened. That is the seventh and final race after that astonishing 30-plus tacks up that last leg, tacking duel. That's Liberty there in the red, Liberdog, as some people called her. Well astern of Australia 2, who sailed a perfect race. And remember, Liberty was up 3-1 in this series. And Australia 2 came back and tied it 3-3 and then won that fourth and final race. And there's the moment when they crossed the finish line. I think this photo is not a Dan Nerney. Yeah, he was in the blimp. I'm pretty sure this is from the clockmaker. This is from our good Swiss photographer friend. We'll mention some more of his stuff in a minute, Daniel Forster. The name of that boat, Julia, for extra credit, the New York Yacht Club's race committee boat? Black Knight.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
Black Knight, the race of the century, as Ed Worley is saying. Sure was.
Yeah.
There was a few moments after they got some Swan Lager beer from out in WA. They got that onto the boat along with Alan Bond. And you can see down in the bottom there, not only is Alan with his fist in the air, but then down at the bottom is Ben Lexon.
Oh, yeah.
The designer of the boat, and there over on the left is John Bertrand, famously cool stuff. And there is the wing keel, if I can erase those boxes. That was once they got back to the dock, and Alan Bond was going to preserve this, the wing keel, and not show anybody he said, we may need the wing keel for the next cup, and not show the technology. Well, the moment got the better of him, or so he reported afterwards, because everybody's all sorry. You see this guy in that photo? There's this guy that used to row around in a kayak in a tuxedo in Newport, not just for this day, and he's got some mum champagne in his hand. He's full drunken, and he climbed up onto the wing keel after Alan Bond was cajoled, I should say, into exposing the keel. Finally, the crew was the whole crowd. I mean, there were a gazillion people over there. And everybody's coming. See, let's show the keel. I can't remember. Yeah. Show the keel, I think was I don't remember. And finally, Alan looked around and said, okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Bond. And up it went. Mr. Bond sounds like James Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was surprising. It went to race 7. And it was a spectacular series. Then we went into the Armory, as it was then called. It's now the Sailing Museum. And that was the scene at the press conference with the Commodore and John Bertrand and Alan Bond. And then standing with the microphone, of course, and Alan Bond's long gone, but the late, great Warren Jones, who was the executive director and really the brains in many ways behind the onshore activities of that syndicate, and became quite a good friend of mine. In fact, I went to his funeral over in WA when he died. Dyer Jones, myself, some others, we were all in Auckland for the Cup, flew over there to the funeral, and it was an amazing reunion as well. The scene outside the press conference that night, these again are not my photos, but the scene outside the press conference there at the Armory was just that whole lower Thames Street was packed with people, full drunken, especially the Aussies. The Americans not so much, although some were trying to drink their sorrows away.
Yeah.
Andrew McIrvin says, I remember in the pre-internet era, I was living in Cape Town. He must have been doctoring down there, learning to be a doctor. And it was a nightmare trying to get the news. Ed Worley knew the name of the boat was Black Knight. And it was an astonishing night in Newport. as the reality set in the next morning, the cold, hard light of day, the trophy had been sent up from New York Yacht Club. That's a whole nother story.
Oh,
We
yes.
don't need to revisit. We've talked about it on this show in the past, Julia.
Yep.
And the trophy got up there, and in a couple days, they had the prize giving at, I think it was at Marble House from memory. And there's the hubcap. That's another story as well. We don't need to go into that. The famous Plymouth hubcap. I think it was a Plymouth. That car isn't even made anymore, with Ben Lexon holding that. And Barry Johnson sent me this note on Facebook, actually. He said, and we celebrated today, meaning yesterday, with members from the bond syndicate 74, 77, 80, and 83, and 87 at the Royal Freshie. At the Royal Freshwater Bay Yacht Club in Perth. Stories from the bygone years are still flowing and memories are still strong. As usual, another great day. Looking forward to next year. Thanks, guys, for a great day of reminiscing and talking 12s. That from our Fozy Barry Johnson, who
That's
watches the
nice.
show regularly. Clayton Embley also checking in just before I went to air, saying, I remember it well. I was in military school at the time, and we watched the celebration afterwards. I remember seeing the feed a couple days later when Australia 2 was at. People don't remember that Australia 2 was invited by Reagan
Yes, I remember
to the
that.
White House,
I
which is a very
remember that.
nice
Yeah.
sporting gesture. And not many people in the New York Yacht Club went, even though they were invited. But they did go down to the White House, and President Reagan said, quote, "Don't bolt that cup down too tightly." We all cheered. Finally, the America's Cup meant something to Americans as well. And here is the promised video from yesterday of John Bertrand at the reunion.
I can't remember, 42 years, that's too long. It stopped the nation. The Americans had not been beaten since before the US Civil War, 1853, I think it was. And they dominated over that period until 1983, when this little country called Australia came along and beat the Americans. The three most memorable events in modern Australian history: John F. Kennedy's assassination, Neil Armstrong setting foot on the moon, and Australia 2 crossing the finishing line. So when it came down to that final race, we were 3-all. We came from 3-1 to 3-2 to 3-3, so our backs were to the wall anyway. And then that final race, they called it the race of the century. We chose a battle hymn called Men at Work Down Under, which is synonymous with winning in this country now, still. And now we created a new battle flag with red gloves for aggression, pumped up chest for the pride of the nation, taking on the world. And that was the boxing kangaroo flag, which is now synonymous with winning, and it's part of the Australian Olympic Committee. It's a part of our Australian Olympic team. One of the most memorable events in this country's history.
That courtesy of the Australian Olympic team, Julia. And
Yes.
John's a member of that program. He's helping out with that. Which brings us to, remember this slide and that song, that music, that theme? Ed Worley's America's Cup History Challenge. Courtesy of Ed, celebrating today, these many years ago, 42 years ago today, as Oz 2 came after they crossed the finish line and got syndicate leadership there on the boat. It was an amazing ride back to shore. I shall never forget that. There were hundreds of spectator boats, maybe thousands of spectator boats out there on the water that day. And it was an amazing scene back in to Newport Harbor past Castle Hill, where there was another huge throng of people cheering for the Aussies and their win on 26 September, the day the America's Cup was lost after 132 years. It broke the longest winning streak in international sports when Australia 2 defeated Liberty in race 7 of AC25. The wing keel was credited with providing the critical performance difference. What other innovation, Ed Worley asks, proved to be pivotal, particularly in race 7? You ready, Julia?
Yeah.
What other innovation proved to be pivotal in race 7? Was it A, a new winged rudder that complemented the keel? B, a new spinnaker design that was faster in light air? C, A new oops, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let me back that up. C, a new coating by 3M that greatly reduced hull friction. D, new crude weather software that predicted wind shifts. E, all of the above. Or F, none of the above. Okay, I see Steve Gruber has already weighed in. Alistair Murray has already weighed in. Gordon Smith, the first two said B. Gordon Smith says D. Ted Ryman says C. Sailing Team Tally Ho, they're here in San Francisco, I believe. We got to get a mention of that, at least, if not more. Welcome to you, Tally Ho and the gang. Rick Bannero says F, none of the above. He thinks this is a trick question. Alan Long says B. Pedro Foiling Sailor says B. Baton Rouge says A and B. Well, some of the above. I didn't have that as an option, Baton Rouge, but Robert McClellan, Commodore McClellan of your club, Julia, Royal Freshwater Bay, saying B. Hamish Ross says Tom Schnackenberg Spinnackers, which would be B. Schnackenberg is the GOAT, the greatest of all time of sail design, Steve Gruber says. Rick Bannero says G. Flatulent koalas. And B, Rouge, Baton, and Chris actually B, formerly SF, now Lake Minnetonka. Oh, okay. Hugh Trahan Spinnakers. Yes, Robert, Hugh Trahan was actually the sail designer for the team. Tally Ho is an amazing project, Gordon Smith saying as an aside. So that are the proposed answers. Most of you thought it was B. Here are your clues. Does that help much, Julia? Does that help much? Does that help much? Well, it is indeed a new spinnaker design that was faster in light air. And Ed writes that the wing keel in Australia 2 required the crew to develop new ways to sail a 12. Early in the Challenger trials, Oz 2 was not very quick downwind because of the extra drag of the keel wings, and especially in the typical Newport slop, caused not only by the wind and waves, but also by the huge spectator fleet that grew over the summer. And over the summer, they gradually developed narrower downwind spinnakers and smaller, actually, and sailed higher angles. Sailmakers were constantly recutting the sails as the crew learned the idiosyncrasies of the new winged keel. Isn't that cool?
Yes. I am always reminded that everybody was cheering the Australians because we wanted the Australians to win.
Well, you the St. Francis Yacht Club, because then you could go challenge for the cup.
Right.
And of course, that's exactly what happened after the Australians won. Then we had the cup in '87 down in Perth in WA, which is where the cup should be run, in the city, in the port of the winning club, not half a world away in Europe.
Right.
Follow the money. Couldn't help that editorial comment, could I? And it was a fabulous event. Most people would say the '86-'87 Cup was the pinnacle event.
Oh, I'm sorry I missed that.
Of the modern history, because there were fully, as I've said many times on this show, 17 teams, 4 defenders, 13 challengers, including how many from the U.S.?
2.
6.
6
from the U.S. because, as you
it was
said,
here. Yeah.
We are now, the U.S. are now challengers. You could only have the defender if you're the home country, if you're the winning country.
Right.
6 challengers: the New York Yacht Club, the San Diego Yacht Club, the St. Francis Yacht Club, the Seattle Yacht Club.
Oh, yeah? I don't remember that.
Do you remember?
No.
No, the Chicago Yacht Club.
Yeah.
The Yuk, the Yale Corinthian Yacht Club.
I didn't know that.
And the Beagle.
Oh, yeah.
Not Seattle Yacht Club, Newport Harbor Yacht Club with their boat Eagle that was so slow it was called
the Beagle.
The Beagle. Sandy Purdon got it right. B. Sandy, of course, past Commodore of San Diego Yacht Club, and was the executive director of Sail America for Dennis when they won the cup in '86-'87 and brought it back to San Diego Yacht Club. Sandy Purton, a very good organizer, and the person from whom I took over when I moved to San Diego and ran the 88 and 92 Cups down there.
Uh-huh.
So that is from Ed Worley, but wait, there's more.
Yes.
The knowledge gained in the Challenger trials resulted in the introduction of the smaller spinnaker that was designed and built by the crew member led by Hugh Trahan. This was the spinnaker used in the critical downwind leg in the final race 7 when Australia 2 passed Liberty.
Uh-huh.
Now, Julia, for extra credit,
Yes.
who was the team's young sailmaker who worked many nights recutting that special spinnaker and giving Australia 2 that winning edge, at least downwind? For extra credit, do you have any idea? I didn't know this until Ed submitted this slide deck the other night. Who was the sailor, the young sailor? And I'll give you another hint to see if anybody knows. Not Grant Simmer, Steve Gruber's asking. He was on the crew. Grant had to sleep. This was a young, not Rumpelstiltskin. This was a guy who stayed up all night recutting the sails. Not just he was leading the group that was redoing the sails. And I'll give you another hint. It was not Rod Davis. There's a good guess, though, Alex Hayworth. Rod was with Beagle, I think, in that campaign. He was with Newport Harbor's campaign. But not in 83, Rod was, I'm not sure what Rod was doing in 83. Any other guesses? Betsy Ross. Rick Pannero is asking. No,
Yes.
not Betsy Ross, who, at least legend has it, was the sewer, the seamstress who put together the first American flag.
That's correct.
For George Washington. I'm not sure that's true, but it's a good story anyway.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Well, I'll give you another hint. It was a Kiwi. It was a Kiwi who maybe helped the Aussies in a very significant way, did help the Aussies in a significant way win the Cup. Nobody else. Ed Worley. Rod was our skipper on Eagle and Defender in 83. So he was in 83 with Defender and then 86, 87 with Eagle, Beagle, Newport Harbor Yacht Club's team. Do you all give up? For extra credit, not Tom Schnackenberg, Alistair Murray's guessing, who was the team's young sailmaker who worked many nights recutting that special spinnaker and giving Oz 2 the winning edge? I think they all give up, Julia. Ian Brown, Pedro Foiling sailor. Peter Stevenson is guessing.
It was somebody who was wasn't thinking of as a sailmaker, and that's it was more a sailor, but maybe that's wrong.
No, that's a good point. He's today certainly thought of as more of a sailor than a sailmaker. I'll give you another clue. He also owns a vineyard in New Zealand today. Robert McClellan, ding, ding, ding. He wins the prize. Brad Butterworth. Well done, Commodore McClellan, the Commodore of the Royal Freshwater Bay Yacht Club. That is the answer. There is his picture, and the answer, Brad Butterworth of New Zealand. And the source for that information is the current, I believe it's the current issue of Seahorse Magazine, number 548 from October of 2025. Nope, Alistair Murray, not Hamish Wilcox. Rob McClellan's got it. Brad Butterworth, there is the article. There is the picture. And there, we also had a great young Kiwi sailmaker called Brad Butterworth. And I was invited to take over the spinnakers to do adjustments. I think these are quotes from, who were they quotes from? Ed Worley will know. They were quotes, I believe, from, remind me, Ed, you put this together. Not Grant Simmer. I think they were quotes from, I'm looking up in the chat, I think from Huey Trahan. Isn't that right? Nonetheless, Brad Butterworth is the answer. Hugh Trahan's spinnakers, sails. No way. Wow, Alex Hayworth is saying. Hamish says that Hamish and Brad are quite good friends, as you all know. He's the co-owners of that cool boat, Rainbow, down there, that classic yacht. Brad tells he was making sailing for Australia, making sails for Australia 2 in New Zealand. Interesting. Oh, sorry, Rob McClellan, not Royal Freshwater Bay. I called him Commodore Royal Freshie. He's, of course, the Commodore of your club, Julie. That
I was
much
going to say,
had right.
Royal Prince Alfred.
The Royal Prince Alfred Yacht Club.
Right.
Commodore Rob McClellan was just up in Newport at the Invitational Cup with Vice Commodore Harrington. Okay, that's it for this segment, Ed Worley's America's Cup History Challenge for today. Thank you, Ed. Thank you very much for putting we haven't had one in a while, for putting that together. I think we have another one in the can, and maybe we'll get to that in due course. We're about an hour and 5 minutes into this show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you coming along. We stream on Sailing Illustrated's blog is the title on Facebook, both my personal Facebook page and SI's Facebook page, as well as Sailing Illustrated TV on YouTube. Are there any other? Gordon Smith, when he puts something in the chat, I think, he's either making a joke or something clever. Speaking of somebody clever, Julia.
Yes.
What do we got coming up now? We have the Royal Naval Bands as the theme song for Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote.
Such a happy song.
G'day, Tom, Julia, and the Fosey. This is Alistair here with AAAA, Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote. I'm a little bit bleary-eyed. I was up very late last night watching Sail GP and having a bit of a blow-by-blow description and commentary with some of the Fosey. So some of my impressions from Sail GP last night. Firstly, none of the Fosey predicted Germany, none. So that just shows you what good judges we are of sailing. Secondly, a very good result for Australia with GBR and New Zealand both behind them. That's obviously what they wanted. And boy, is Tom Slingsby the comeback kid or what? He does really well with that. Light air venues, they suck. I mean, it's painful watching it when they're dropping on off the foils, and we've seen that in the America's Cup, and we see that in Sail GP. They should avoid light air venues. Burling's start in race one, simply the best start I think I've ever seen in Sail GP. That was sensational. And finally, that commentary. It drives me nuts. Second topic, more comments on Lake Garda. I just wanted to sort of finish up on that because we've seen the contenders, the Fireballs, the Tazars, a lot of classes there this year. And we finished just recently with the OK Dinghies. And I just want to say, a big shout out and bravo Zulu to the OK Dinghy class and to the winners in that championship. So 213 boats from 15 countries was quite incredible. Congratulations to Andrew Mills, Nick Craig, who I know well, and Nicholas Edler from Sweden. And just finishing by saying, you've got to see Lake Garda to believe it. I sailed there for the first time in my life this year. It's quite simply the best place I've ever sailed. And if you think you live in a popular sailing venue, like I tend to think of that in Melbourne, we're kidding ourselves. Lake Garda runs rings around us with so many classes and so much activity, such spectacular scenery. Getting smacked in the face with fresh water, it's nothing like it. And then finally, the big name game for the Ronstan watch, the competition you've all been waiting for my new baby, the Sophia 24. Thanks everyone for your input. Just a few suggestions. Rick Bannerow reminded me of the crowdsourcing approach that the UK Coast Guard employed at one stage, and they came up with a name. Boaty McBoatface was a suggestion, and they actually chose it. So I'm not going to go with crowdsourcing. He also just suggested Nat Snore, which is Ronstan backwards, a 4A, A4, and then 4A the word, which I think was actually very clever, F-O-R-A-Y, 4A. That's pretty good for me. And Chris Fury suggested exactly the same thing. So you two guys should come up with the correct name. Alan Long suggested Southern Comfort and Hot Yacht after Yachties or Hotties. That was pretty good. Jodie Shields suggested a bevy because of the bevy of women in my life with daughters, granddaughters, etc. But it's also, we know how much he likes a drink. So Jodie likes a bevy. He thought that was a pretty good double meaning. Phil Burgess suggested AAA's T2, Tazar 2, very good. David James suggested Audrey, as in Hepburn, because she's small and beautifully built. Good thinking, David. Fog Machine came up with Alistair's awesome Anchors Away. You guys are creative. And Baton Rouge, pretty good, came up with Sapphire. And I think Sapphire is sapphire in Dutch. So, One set of clues now, which I'll give you. More hints will come if you're not getting there, but somebody will come up with it. And then Tom to reveal the name and logo, which I've sent to him. Somebody will get it and they'll win the watch. Congratulations in advance. So here goes. Here's the clues. It's a simple name, 2 syllables only, one word. It's a nod to its brand. Remember the brand of boat? It's a nod to its colour. I'll simply say it's a bright colour, and that will be revealed. It's a nod to my old company, and you know what that is. And it's a nod to a British singer from the Flower Power era. So this is a clue that the older ones of us can tap into. So let's see how we go. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Somebody will get it, and you'll win the watch. Well done in advance. Congratulations. That's me. Bit of fun again. Alistair's AAAA. Over and out. Cheers. Bye.
That's good.
That is good. And here's the watch in the box from Ron Stan.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've taken it apart and repackaged it, and now I got it. There we go. There's the watch.
Mm-hmm.
Come up with the name of Alistair's boat, and that will be yours. Lake Garda is a sailing heaven. Freshwater is the best. Alan Long, talking about the commentary, I suppose, drives us all nuts. God darn, it does. Well done back on Ed Worley. Well done on your quiz. Yeah, Ted Ryman. I think we all like that quiz, don't we?
It was a good one. Yeah.
We also love Alistair. He's always happy. He's always got such good news.
Yes.
And he's such a good influence on all of us. And that is from Alistair's AAAA.
Yes. Absolutely.
Clever people on here, Julia.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote. That's pretty good. We've had 2 or 3 right in a row here.
Yeah.
Show number, what is it? What are we up to? 868. 869 today. Wow.
I think.
Well, we should look in on the 52 Super Series that is just wrapping up tomorrow. It will be. Today was day 4, tomorrow day 5 in Puerto Cherabo, Yacht Club Costa Smeralda, sponsored by Range Rover. And sled is still leading after today's racing there, Friday, the penultimate day of racing at the 52 Super Series. At the Puerto Cherabo Range Rover Regatta proved to be a sharp contrast to the 2 previous days of strong Mistral winds, presenting the 13 teams from 10 different nations. Well done, guys. Put the number of teams and the number of nations in every press release. Mm-hmm. With a different challenge as the conclusion of the 2025 season approaches. In shifty, light winds which started around 10 knots and dropped, only one windward leeward contest could be completed before the breeze crapped out. Became too unstable.
Says he gently.
Huh?
Says he gently.
The Witchcraft family's Thai flagged team on Vayu profited in these more gentle airs and scored their first race win of this season, meaning that now 12 of the 13 crews have won at least one race.
That's great.
And here, Julia, is the video from Puerto Cherabo, the 52 Super Series.
So the penultimate day of the season, the penultimate day of the regatta, much lighter forecast today. It's going to be a day for patience. Sled at the top of the table. They've actually halved the margin for American Magic at the top of the table for the season. Everything to play for, but it's going to be a day for patience. So great race 7, very different complexion to the previous days. The wind is round about 300 degrees, 9 to 10 knots, very flat water. And off the start line, nice start off the pin end of the line from Vayu. Pravetsa pushing hard, 1/3 down from the committee boat. Great first upwind. The left side is strong still on this course area. Round the top mark, Pravetsa leading just from Vayu. Platoon round in 3rd. American Magic round in 4th. Pravetsa lead down the first run, pursued by Vayu. It's at the top mark, second time up, where Vayu come in with a better angle, more pressure later to the top mark. Pravetsa lose out at the top mark. Vayu go clear down the final run, lead through the finish. It's the first regatta win of the season for the Thai team on Vayu. Pravetsa gets second. Platoon Aviation get third. American Magic circuit leaders finish 4th. And Sled, the regatta leaders, 6th. So, 52 Super Series Porto Cervo by Range Rover Regatta after 7 races. Sled leading into the final day on 27 points. Second are Phoenix on 33, Allegra on 38, but not far behind on 39 are Paprec and fourth, Pravetza 39 also. And Platoon Aviation, the German team, still have a chance to the podium on 40.5. And going into the last day of 2025 season, American Magic Quantum Racing leading 178 points. They're 21 points clear of Sled on 199. Paprec on 238.5. They're just a little bit ahead of Alkido, who are on 246. 2475 for Platoon Aviation in fifth.
Great.
Nice stuff. And
Yes.
as somebody said, several of you said in the Ed Worley and others about what great coverage this 52 Super Series has been giving us. It gets better each year. And this year, I'm getting videos from them within, 3 hours of racing concluding for the day.
Wow.
And a lot of times I don't get video until a day or two later from other regattas, which makes preparing these shows a real pain in the patoot.
Yeah.
As you can imagine. But I get a video from them and they send it direct because they know we're going to use it. They hope we're going to use it.
Yeah.
And if it's, if I get a video on a Wednesday and I know I'm going to get 2 more between Wednesday and Friday, I'll post it on Facebook or wherever just to give them some good ink. But then the photos come through and they're superb. And then they have the names, they have the number of competitors, the number of countries. Bravo, Zulu, to this
And
group.
it's fun to watch them sail.
And they're big monohulls with professional crews at the top of their game. With a lot of them still have owner drivers. Doug DeVos is steering that boat.
Oh, is he?
He is, not H4, not Harry Melgus IV's regatta.
Yeah.
And the photos, as I said, are fabulous and lots of them. And if you know who does a good job too is Sail World. And you can always tell what regatta is doing a good job with their AV, with their photos, with their videos, with their pros, because Sail World creates these beautiful photo essays. They take the pros, they take the text from the press release, and then they add the photos into their posts, their block style posts. And Sail World is just why I rely so heavily on them and why they deserve particular congratulations. Scuttlebutt is a great encyclopedia, is a great, encyclopedia of our sport, but they usually post one picture.
Yeah.
And it's low res, and Sail World does a great job. Here are the results so far. Sled still leading, as we said. American Magic now has climbed up to 7th, so it looks like they're going to be okay on the season championship. They just have to, if they finish in 7th, as you saw in that video, they will end up in the hunt, in fact, leading the pack for the overall 2025 season championship of the 52
That'd be great
Super
for them.
Series. It will be great for them, Julia.
Yep.
Which gets us to the last leg. In only an hour and 18 minutes, Julia. That's pretty good. A little shorter show today. So everybody can enjoy their Friday or their early Saturdays down under. The last leg to Gloucester, that painting that we all like. And what's going on here, Julia? They've just wrapped up the Ocean Race Europe, and they're doing press conferences, and they're doing wrap-ups, and they're looking forward to the next event already. Sailors and teams shift focus to the Ocean Race Atlantic, not at Ocean Race Europe, but the Ocean Race Atlantic, which will be held in a year's time, and they're already promoting it. Good for them.
Yep.
Starting the 2nd of September, 2026, there's your favorite skipper, Boris Hermann, Team Milizia from Hamburg, Germany, representing the Yacht Club de Monaco. Can you see in the soft focus back there?
Yes, indeed.
You see who that is? Our Sailing Illustrated Person of the Year there on the right, Cole Brower. Which reminds me, Julie, we have to start thinking about our Person of the Year.
Oh, the year's getting out.
2025.
Yeah, we
do that at the end of the year. We did it in January last year, January, February, but maybe we need to do it in December this year. Let's think about that, see what everybody says in the chat.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
We do want to come up with one person, again,
yes,
male or female, the person of the year, somebody we decided has done the most significant thing, not necessarily won a yacht race, but that would be ideal if they were a yacht racer, I think.
Yeah.
Made a big contribution to our sport and also done well on the water, I think is the criteria. We got to write up maybe a little bit of a deed of gift for that.
To being recognized.
What are the comments? You guys are slow. What was all this about? They have a great regatta boats, close racing, and Dolly DeVola saying, you guys are slow. The 60 singers, Donovan. What was where'd that come up?
I don't know. That started.
60, remember what Donovan?
It came from Saffron.
I'm just mad about Saffron. Oh, is that it? So it's about the boat name for Alistair's boat. Saffron's mad about me. Da, da, da. Yeah. Maybe I'll get a guitar in here, Julia, put a stand in or hang it on the wall so that when we want to break into tune, I can play.
Yes.
What's the name of the song?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm just mad about Saffron. Saffron's mad about me. Mellow.
Yellow.
Yellow. Well done, Julia.
Mellow yellow. Andrew, that was from Andrew McGovern.
Man, they're all bingo. Ted Cole, Alan Ostfield for stepping aside from USA, Greg Norman. Greg, I was talking with Greg today. He runs that good YouTube channel called Inside Great Lakes Sailing, but he covers way more than just Great Lakes Sailing here in this country. He's talking to Gladwell. He is on the prowl. He's on the hunt to find out if American Magic is going into Sail GP, as I suspect they are, as I've been saying for some time. I thought they were going to be the 13th team.
Yeah.
They're not. Obviously, the Swedes are, Torbjörn Tornquist, but I think they are going in, and I do think they're going to sit this next America's Cup out, as is Ernesto Bertarelli.
Yes.
I think this next America's Cup is going not from strength to strength, but I think it's going from Croutonicism to more Croutonicism. I'm not even going to play the video they put out about how they're going to clean up the waterfront and how they're going to have great facilities there, and madness. A banjo, yeah, I have the banjo uke. I don't have a full, since my good 1926 banjo was stolen some years ago. I haven't bought a new one, but I do have a banjo uke, Blake. I'm just mad about Saffron. I'm mad about Cole Brower, too. I mean, I'm just in love with her. Everyone is. She did a fabulous job. She was our person of the year. Greg Norman thinks that they are going to be, that is, American Magic is going to be the 14th team in Sail GP. I think they are, too. I thought they were going to be 13th, Greg, but we'll see. Greg's on the hunt for that. By the way, I will report it. There is a rumor. I haven't been able to substantiate it. Greg is also trying to track it down, but there is a rumor, just so if it turns out to be true, you heard it here first, that none other than Larry Ellison, the richest or second richest man in the world, depending on how his Oracle stock is on a given day, was seen dining in Holland, Michigan. You know where Holland, Michigan is?
Yeah.
It's on the west coast of Michigan, over on Lake Michigan. And it is the home of the Macatawa, the esteemed Macatawa Bay Yacht Club. It's also the home of the DeVos family.
Aha. That I didn't know.
So we don't know. And I was talking this morning with Greg Norman about that.
Interesting.
And Gordon Smith is saying, remind me, was it me that proposed Cole Brower? I think you were leading that charge, Gordon, as were others. And it was a vote of the Superfozy at the end of the day. So we should probably start taking nominations, but a little bit later. We want to see what happens here in September, October, who wins Yachtsman of the Year. By the way, there are a lot of people, including Magnus the Magnificent, who are pushing for Kayard to be the Yachtsman of the Year, while we're digressing on this topic, talking about, say, Sailor of the Year, but for Yachtsman of the Year at World Sailing. The Rolex Yachtsman of the Year. And I agree with Magnus. How can anybody who wins his second Star Worlds 37 years after he won his first one in a 100-plus boat fleet at age 60, whatever he was, 66, and astonishing.
Yes.
Astonishing. So I agree with Magnus Wheatley. Oh, Magnus and I have agreed on something.
Alistair just said Ted wins the watch. What did Ted say?
Ted, did he get it?
He just wrote that. Ted wins the watch.
Oh, he does? Okay, well, if Alistair said that, then he does.
But did we have a bingo, Ted? Oh, Tangerine.
Tangerine. Oh, is that the name of the boat? I did know that. He sent me a picture, and I thought I was supposed to keep my mouth shut still for another show. I do have a picture, and we will display all of that in due course on Tuesday's show. How's that, Alistair? Maybe you do a quick Alistair. Maybe you can get Ted to come on and interview him. Ted said saffron, not tangerine. Dolly DeVola saying, okay, we got eminent confusion. So let's leave that at that, and we'll sort that all out on Tuesday, but let's also start thinking about who our Sailor of the Year is going to be. In the meantime, the Ocean Race Europe is already thinking about their event next September 2026, and then their next, the big round-the-world race is not until 2027, so they got to fill the time. They're feeling pressure, I'm sure, from SailGP as well. But here is their video about the event in a year's time. New York City to Barcelona, the Ocean Race Atlantique, 640 nautical miles. A year from now.
Yep.
Starting on the 2nd of September, 2026. We'll have done another 100 shows by then, Julia. We'll be up to 989 shows, thereabouts.
Yeah.
What else is supposed to be in 2027? Will the Ocean Race have a stop in Naples? Well, as I said, there's this great article by Richard Gladwell out. Go to Sail World if you haven't seen it, if you don't regularly look in. I'm going to run the article with Richard on Tuesday and go through it kind of point by point. Now Groover's putting this on me, not Alistair. No, you guys come up with a name. I didn't say anything about the name. I don't know what the names are, Steve. Don't blame me for that. But we will have on Tuesday. I'm pretty sure we've got. He's sleeping right now, but we're going to have Richard Gladwell on and comparing this clash. He likens it to an earthquake. I mean, you got two events like we had here Monday. The earthquake.
Yeah,
it wasn't a very big one, but this is a big one. I mean, now that Nathan Outeridge is gone into SailGP. You got all of the America's Cup skippers from last time involved in SailGP. You got all the top sailors in that professional element of our sport. Jody Shields says everyone wins a watch. You guys, I'm totally confused. We'll sort this out with Alistair and run it on Tuesday, right? Saffron is the French word for rudder.
Oh, yeah?
Really? Fritz Mueller in Miami. You never know what you're going to learn on this show, Julia.
Oh, no.
Speaking of what you're going to learn, get your finger ready because we have one from Ted Ryman. He's had a string of clean ones, but not today, Julia.
Okay.
And I'm going to open with it, so we'll see what
Get ready.
Get ready. I understand how you get Bob from Robert, Bill from William, but how do you get Dick from Richard?
Ask him nicely. I know too many Richards. I know too many Richards.
So does he get a finger wag or not?
If you're listening closely, he does.
That's Ryman. Well, you haven't given him the wag. Come on, I just gave the wag audio. I think that's a scratch. Gordon Smith is laughing. Now, apropos all this stuff about the orcas and also the man overboard business with the Royal Yachting Association losing their, going down the DEI rat hole with, you got to stop calling it man overboard. Well, the RYA, everyone is, they got so much bad ink. They got so many comments in their Facebook page and all over the place about what crutonicism that was. They've retracted and they said, look, stick with man overboard, but try to be a little less male-oriented in your other verbiage in our sport. So I think everybody is happy about that. So in that respect, up came this: duty of the captain, safety above all. Yes, of course, man overboard. I don't care what you call the person. There's a crew overboard. There's a man. Everybody knows MOB, man overboard. Protect the crew, defend the ship, human life first. That came from Clayton Embley, but he also noted, Clayton did, they must have had orcas back in the day. This is an old poster.
Yeah.
Because look at that. The orca is there in the water. I wonder if they were worried about the orcas attacking ships. What, do you remember the year this poster, you found this, Clayton? I don't know. We'll see. And then finally, Blake Middleton's poster, his submission, All the Smartest People Sail. Thank you, Blake. We'd like to end with that as we wrap up yet another show. And we are to the finish line. And Julia, you like to say?
Yes, please like, follow, and share.
And comments are welcome, even in replay. We leave them open. One of the few shows that does, because our people are so proper.
Yes.
They are so proper. Yeah, the Dolly DeVola. They, them, overboard. What about a Kraken? I don't know about that. In reply to Richard Gladwell, the America's Cup will simply replace missing sailors with another chip. Yeah, it's getting to be that, isn't it, Hamish Ross? We're going to have automation to the nth degree already in the America's Cup. Bad luck, Gordon. Thank you, Julia. Andrew Pindar, talking Great Lakes sailors, I am delighted to commend the autobiography by Tim Kent, A Boat-Shaped Mind, Christmas Presents Now Sorted. Don't I have a copy of that book here?
Do you?
Back here. Oh, man, I'm making noise here, Julia.
Uh-oh.
Back here in my bin, Tim has sent it to me, A Boat-Shaped Mind. I have not read it yet, but there's you see down at the bottom, it says a foreword by Andrew Pindar, OBE.
Aha.
Order of the British Empire. And I have read the foreword, actually. I read your foreword, Andrew, and I've started into the book, and I have it right here behind me. And when I get a spare moment, I will really delve into it in a big way. A Boat-Shaped Mind by Tim Kent, who's often on here as well.
Who is Tim Kent?
He's a great sailor. From the Middle West.
From the Middle West.
Yes, from the Midwest and the Great Lakes.
Great.
Okay, thanks again for a great show. Thierry Diong says, Sailing Team Tally-Ho, nice to catch you live, and especially to see both of you healthy and pumping out the sessions. Yes, we do. We do pump out the sessions. Rick Banner, don't be boring. Get off the mooring. Have a great weekend, Fozy, one and all. Yes, and speaking of the Fozy, thank you to all of you who support us via Patreon. We appreciate a few bucks a month to keep our studio, our equipment, to keep our streaming fees, keep it all paid. That's the only thing we use your Patreon contributions for, to keep this studio alive and to keep this show on the proverbial road. Thanks also to those who give us audio, video, and images for the show. And that's today's list. Julia, final thoughts.
Yeah, just say again, thank you for your support, because the broadcasting whoever's make a good note of the people and how many follow and comment.
Indeed. Okay, that wraps it for us. Just a reminder that on Tuesday, we hope to have Richard Gladwell live from Melbourne. I think he agreed he would do it pending, but he's traveling. He's going to be leaving Auckland and getting over there tomorrow, his Sunday. And we'll have Richard on live via Zoom on Tuesday to talk about this, again, that terrific article. I was going to put it on here and scroll through it, but I think I'll save it for Tuesday. In the meantime, have a great rest of your weekend, wherever in the world you are. We're just embarking on ours up here in San Francisco on Friday afternoon. Have a fabulous time and go sailing.
Yes.
That makes my time more fabulous. And if you do, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. See you Tuesday. Ciao for now.